You probably believe you make your own choices, that your life is ruled by logic or luck. But what if that's just a mask covering something deeper? Carl Jung thought that the unconscious mind isn't just inside you, it's everywhere around you too. And sometimes it tries to give you a message, not using words, but strange patterns, symbols, and moments that feel way too perfect to be accidents. These hidden forces don't just make weird things happen, they quietly shape who you become. If you ignore them, you might end up living someone else's life without even knowing it. But once you learn to notice the signs, you can never unsee them. Suddenly, life feels alive, like it's whispering just to you. And if you pay attention, it can change everything. You've sensed strange moments before. A song that played right when your heart was breaking. A dream that felt like a secret message. A random person who said something that stuck with you, just when you needed it most. But you told yourself it was just luck. Just random. Still, a quiet part of you doesn't believe that. You feel something bigger at work, even if you can't explain it. You've always done the right things, followed rules, stayed organized, made smart choices. But deep down, you feel something's missing. Not something you can buy or earn, but something you long for. You've had flashes, brief but powerful, where life felt magical, like it was trying to reach you. A number that keeps showing up, a gut feeling that turns out to be true, or that creepy and amazing moment when you think of someone and they text you right away. But your logical brain tells you to ignore it. It's silly, right? Or maybe not. Maybe that's your soul warning you that you've stopped listening, that you've been shutting out signals it's been sending all along. And now, something inside you is waking up again, asking you to pay attention. Carl Jung called them meaningful coincidences. Weird moments that seem random, but feel personal, like they're meant just for you. He called them synchronicities. They don't follow logic. They follow meaning. It's not about cause and effect. It's about feeling like something matters deep inside. Jung worked with a famous scientist, Wolfgang Pauli, and together they saw strange links between science, the mind, and how the world seems to reflect your thoughts. They believe these moments are how your deeper self shows itself, when something inside you and something outside of you line up in a way that feels too perfect to be random. You don't make them happen. You notice them, and when you do, it's like being reminded you're not lost, you're connected. That drawing in your dream shows up in real life. That symbol you keep seeing suddenly makes sense. Someone says the exact words you needed to hear. Part of you says it's weird. But another part says it feels like coming home. These moments aren't accidents. They're quiet nudges. Little signs pointing you in the right direction. But only if you're willing to see not just with your eyes, but with your heart. So what if life isn't just a bunch of accidents? What if things happen not by chance, but to show you the way? If that's true, then your gut feelings, strange dreams, and weird signs actually matter. And then, what if all the hard times, your anxiety, heartbreak, confusion, weren't punishments, but signals you missed? What would that mean? Maybe you've been guided all along, but you were too busy, too afraid, or too logical to notice. Maybe you're not as alone as you thought. And maybe the scary part isn't that no one is in control, but that something greater is. And you can't control it. That's terrifying, right? To trust something bigger than yourself? But also freeing. Because maybe the real you, the one you've buried under rules and fear, is finally showing up. So the real question becomes, if you stop fighting it and start listening, would you lose yourself or finally find who you really are? People from long ago believed in signs, omens, messages from gods or ancestors. Carl Jung gave it a new name: synchronicities. Call them whatever you want. They all ask the same thing. Are you paying attention? These moments won't explain themselves with logic. You feel them. They show up when your heart is open. And the more you notice, the more they come. Like soft drum beats getting louder, pulling you closer to the truth of who you really are. It's not magic, or maybe it is, but it feels like something you already know deep in your bones. Because this isn't really about the signs. It's about you, finally looking, believing that your life has meaning, that it follows a pattern shaped by something deep inside you. So next time something strange happens, that coincidence you can't explain, don't ignore it. Ask yourself what it means. What if it's not a coincidence at all? What if it's guidance? The road is appearing in front of you, but to step onto it, you'll need something older than logic. Something powerful and quiet and forgotten. Intuition. And now, it's time to remember. What if the part of you that knows what's best never stopped talking? You just forgot how to hear it. Deep down, you felt it. A quiet nudge, a gut feeling, a soft voice inside. But the world taught you to ignore it. Be logical. Be grown up. Now, you can't even trust yourself to decide small things without doubt creeping in. You read guides, ask for opinions, try to be sure. You stuff your uncertainty with noise, social media, advice, endless input. And still, at night, when everything is quiet, you feel the emptiness. You freeze before choices, you overthink, you delay. But you never really know, do you? That's the real fear. That your inner sense is gone, that you can't feel yourself anymore. But maybe this isn't your fault. Maybe you didn't break. Maybe you just forgot. Because maybe real knowing doesn't speak in words, but in feelings, symbols, and subtle pulls. Maybe your mind can't explain it, but your whole self can remember it. And maybe that quiet stirring you keep ignoring is still trying to lead you home. Psychologist Carl Jung said that intuition is one of the 4 main ways humans understand things. A quiet knowing that skips logic and speaks through signs and symbols. It's not a trick, and it's not magic. It's how we sense patterns and feel things before we can explain them. As kids, we are full of this. We feel safe or unsafe without reasons. We trust or fear people based on energy, not proof. But as we grow, we're told to ignore that. We're taught to follow rules, use facts, and never trust a feeling without evidence. So that deep sense of knowing, the one that used to guide us through life like instinct, goes quiet. And when we lose it, the world starts to feel cold and empty. Even though that voice never dies, it waits. It speaks in ways we no longer notice, through dreams, music, strange feelings, and quiet moments. It shows us images and moods that don't make sense, but matter deeply. When we push it away, it fights back through anxiety, hunger for meaning, or feelings we can't explain. But when we invite it back, life starts to feel rich again. Writing becomes a way to reflect. Stillness becomes peaceful. Silence feels full of secrets. You stop asking, "Where's the answer?" and start feeling, "Something's coming." That's when the magic begins. What happens when you can't feel your own truth anymore? When your choices all come from someone else's ideas, someone else's voice? You might do well, get praise, earn money, build a life that looks right. But deep down, alone at night, you'll feel it. The ache of not knowing if any of it came from you. You'll wonder whose path you're walking. You'll forget the feeling of a strong, clear yes in your chest. You'll miss the signs your body used to give you. The chills before a lie, the excitement before a decision, the pull before a leap. Living only from logic doesn't make you safer. It makes you disconnected. It kills the wild, wise part of you, the one that knew things before words. But it's still there, waiting for you to ask again, "What do I feel?" before I explain. Some truths can't be found through research. They live inside you and just need to be remembered. Intuition isn't something you chase. It comes back when you stop trying to control everything and start listening to what calls you. It might speak through a strange dream, a phrase that hits your heart out of nowhere, a person who feels important for no clear reason. These aren't random. They are clues. Gentle hints from the quiet wisdom that never left, just fell silent until you were ready to hear it again. Now, when you sit in silence, it feels different. Not empty, but open. Not lonely, but full of messages. And something is starting to speak. The question is, are you willing to slow down and listen again? Because soon, the signs will not just appear in words, but in your body, in chills, in urges, in hunches that seem crazy, but true. And when they do, will you follow them, even when they don't make sense? Because next, we must ask, what if the part of yourself you've been afraid of is actually the part that's been protecting you all along? And what if that hidden part is called shadow? Why does it feel like the harder you try, the more life pushes back? You chase the job, the love, the next step, but nothing clicks into place. You make vision boards, repeat affirmations, hustle harder, but somehow it feels like everything's stuck. The more pressure you apply, the more drained and lost you feel. You want peace, but your thoughts are loud. You want movement, but every step feels wrong. And deep down, you start to question yourself. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'll never get there. You try to stay positive, to believe, but it starts to feel fake. You act like everything's fine, but inside, you're frustrated and exhausted, wondering if this create your reality idea was just another lie. But then something strange happens. When you stop trying so hard, when you let go for a moment, something shifts. A message shows up, a person calls, life starts to move again. Maybe it's not about doing more. Maybe the universe isn't ignoring you. Maybe it's hearing you too clearly. Not your words, but your energy, your fear. You're trying too hard. And maybe it's waiting for real connection, not for control. Carl Jung suggested that deep inside you is more than your everyday thoughts and plans. There's a wiser part of you, the self, that holds your true purpose. This part isn't about pushing or striving. It's about meaning, about what really matters underneath it all. And when you slow down and connect with that part, something amazing happens. Little signs show up. A quote that hits home, a dream that feels like a message, a random moment that suddenly feels meant to be. Jung called this synchronicity, where life starts lining up with your energy, not your effort. But this only happens when your thoughts, feelings, and intentions stop pulling in different directions. It doesn't work when you're panicking or desperate. It works when you're still inside, when you're open, honest, present. This isn't about sitting still waiting either. It's about becoming the person your dreams are trying to find. It's a kind of flow where things come together, not when you chase, but when you finally feel whole. But if you're not constantly pushing toward a goal, who are you really? If you're not proving your value through success, busyness, or perfection, what's left? The truth might be painful, that most of your effort hasn't been creative. It's been a way to hide the fear that you're not enough just as you are. You've been trying to control life because deep down, you didn't trust it, or yourself. And maybe that's why things felt so stuck. Not because you didn't try hard enough, but because you've been moving from fear, not meaning. So what if the real question is, can you let life show up for you? Can you follow where meaning leads instead of forcing everything into place? That would require giving up some old identities, letting go of the idea that you have to earn love, success, or happiness. It's not weakness. It's a kind of power, a quiet strength, the kind where you stop kicking down doors and realize the real door opens in. You can't force alignment, and you don't need to. When you live from that deeper place, life starts listening back. You stop shouting your wishes and start hearing the quiet answers. You no longer try to make it happen. You let life meet you halfway. Life speaks in feelings, in symbols, in timing. And when you start moving with it instead of against it, life feels a lot more alive. Meaning becomes your direction. What feels real becomes your guide. Gratitude isn't something you fake to get what you want. It naturally happens when you're tuned in. But there's still one big question that matters. What energy are you actually sending out? Because your intention isn't just what you say. It's what you really feel. And your deeper self hears every beat of it. What if the part of you that's been chasing out of fear is just trying to protect a younger part of you that still believes it's unsafe to be seen? Soon, we'll meet that protector, the one that kept you small to keep you safe. But now, that protection might be holding your greatest gift prisoner. You weren't just making things up. It was your deeper mind trying to talk to you all along. You just stopped understanding its way of speaking. But now that you've heard it again, what will you do when life tries to send you a message through strange timing or chance? Don't ignore it. Follow that tug of curiosity, that feeling that something bigger is happening. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and come with us into what's next, because this isn't the end. It's the beginning, and you don't want to miss what's coming.